Live from the J.C. Newman Cigar Studios and the Gurkha Cigar Studios in the great state of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Smokin Tabacco Show with your hosts, Matt Tobacco and Pat Chamberlain.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Smokin Tabacco Show. My name is Matt Tobacco from SmokinTabacco.com, and Pat is not with me tonight. But I do have someone very special with me who is not really a guest. I never bill him as a guest because, well, he was here from day one, and that's Mr. Jon Carney, now of Bentley Tobacco, not that other company that shall remain nameless. It's all about Bentley Green going forward. That's what I have with me tonight. Got the Bentley Green. My good friend John, who's with me. It's my boy right there. And, yeah. How's it going, buddy?
Dude, I got this new light bar. Yeah, I got the white. So I got this, I'm smoking the white Corona. So I got this new light bar. It's kind of like a lightsaber. And I think it's a little too much because if I get too close to the camera, it's too much. And then you can see with the cigar, it's just a little bit too much light. So I'm slowly working my way to having a good lighting system. But anyway, great to be here. Happy New Year.
Are you on your phone?
No, I'm on my computer.
Oh. Do you have like a camera set up?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
No, I'm using the FaceTime camera on the display, which is okay. It's not the preferred. I do prefer the phone, so I'll probably start using the phone going forward for that stuff. But anyway, yeah, no, I got the Bentley White Toro. I'm gonna smoke the Bentley White Toro. What size you got on the green? The Churchill?
I think this is the Churchill.
Does it feel big?
Yes.
It's a 7x54, so it's not a classic Churchill. The name of it's the Churchill, and it is in the Churchill range in length, but it is a little bit bigger in ring gauge. So
that's what it is. It's throwing me off.
Yeah, when I tell people about it, I say, I go, this is the Churchill. I go, but it's a larger ring gauge size, so I always call it the 7x54 Churchill. Because Churchills sell well in the cigar market, but it's not, in the niche part of the cigar market, you got big ring gauges, 54 and above, that do really well. And then Toros, obviously, being the number one selling sizes across the whole market. So the Churchill kind of falls in between there. So I mentioned to people when we talk about, hey, this is a 7x54 Churchill. We intentionally made it larger to fit a different part of the market. So
and how is the response on that, too? Is it actually kind of like worked out because you're offering a Churchill in a larger size, or?
Yeah, it has worked out, and
yeah,
it's so we're in about 60 retailers now. We're going to ramp it up here at the beginning of the year in the next first quarter. We'll get into that, but no, it helps a ton because a lot of people will be like, okay, let me, what are the size offerings? So we have the green line right now and the white, and we have just the 4 SKUs here in the United States. We have many other SKUs internationally, but we're going to start exposing them to the market here. But I bring it up intentionally, and I put it in any emails or any messages I extend where I said, and we have the Churchill size, which is 7x54. And they're like, oh, good. They're like, there's a lot of reception to it being a little bit larger size and not being just a Churchill. All the Churchills aren't great. I love Churchill sizes. It just tends to be in... I don't know about this, but I would venture to say the number one selling size in the Winston Churchill series might not even be the Churchill size in that. And that's just a perfect example of I said how that's, Churchill's like the 4th or 5th best selling size overall. So I say then, yeah, it does. The reception's instant. Oh, great. I have somebody that would smoke that, or they have it in their mind where there's a part of the market that would, want something a little bit larger ring gauge.
Yeah. For me, I've obviously I'm still new to the Bentley brand myself, so I'm still kind of learning it, like most people are. I mean, you guys are just hitting the scene, and I do notice the sizes are a little different, but they're good and they smoke well. You take into consideration these cigars are made at one of the best factories in the world. You get Hoya de Nicaragua making them, which that's a great place to start off. Pretty good with the sizes. The 2 blends, and I'm sure you guys are going to expand down the road, but the 2 blends you got right out of the gate, the green and the white, I think they're great. I think the more I smoke them, I think I gravitate more towards the white, but I like both of them very much. But I would say if I had to pick one, gun to the head, white. But the green, I'm smoking the green tonight. The green is also just it's very good as well. So I think that you guys are doing it right. You got the two blends. Was it? What did you say? 4 sizes each. So not a huge
Yeah,
portfolio, but plenty of room to grow.
well, and the portfolio is larger. We have our footprint internationally is much different than it is
Right.
here, and really, this if you think about this concept here in the U.S. And bringing Bentley Tobacco here to the United States started August 30th, and we were figuring out what direction we were going to go with it. Um, my partner's in that, Martin Schuster from the Schuster family in Germany. He runs his family's company, his fourth generation, and we were just kind of feeling it out. We were some interest in what we could potentially do with this, and through August, September, and through October, we kind of we slowly launched it. It was a great reception to it, and there was a lot of people that were very interested. But we had limited supply of tobacco at that point in time. Sorry, of cigars at that time because we weren't sure kind of what was going on. So you don't want to over purchase, and at the same time, the we were limited to kind of how we could launch it at first. And then at the beginning, when we announced this and it was public, people were asking, they're like, what's your title in the company? Well, Bentley Tobacco USA didn't exist on August 30th. Legally, it didn't exist until the middle of November, until we incorporated it. So there really was no title. We were kind of on a trial run to see if there'd be interest in this, see if there was a good reception. So for the retailers that jumped in with us early, we appreciate it. It was really a test. And it was really put out there just to see how it does kind of on its own and, with my reputation and whatnot. But I built a reputation on doing dynamic dinner events, doing dynamic pairings, traveling quite frequently. And that kind of took a little bit of a backseat towards the end of the year. And also we were launching this in the fourth quarter. Really of a year that was challenging economically around. So no, we had a lot of success. But they said when people ask me like, "Well, what's your title with the company?" There wasn't one in August 30th. It was I was working to see where we were going to go with it and building that on the back end. So now that the year's ended, a lot of we have a lot of plans in place. We have a lot of structure coming. In the next few months, we're going to start expanding in regards to our exposure in retail stores. That's with me and some staff that we hope to be bringing on here before the PCA show in April. So now we're really going to get into the actual setup of the company, getting things out there, working on new blends, working on limited edition items that we have coming out with the AI cigar project that we've talked about. And, this will be where the real work goes in. Here in the U.S. and is really the real launch. This next 3 or 4 months is really the official launch of it here, and to see where it goes. And we're open to making adjustments if we have to on certain things. But I tend to agree with you. I tend to be drawn more towards the white. Both blends are a more medium-bodied representation of Nicaraguan tobacco, which I think for some people is a little bit different. I've read some reviews. I like all feedback, but I did read some reviews online. I think it was blind. It was the it was Developing Palates, and those guys smoke, and we do here a lot of the cigar media. Smoke a lot of full-bodied, in-your-face Nicaraguan tobacco. So when you think Hoyt Nicaragua, you think Antaño. You think some of Saka's blends. There's a lot of full-bodied, a lot of front palate spice, where this kind of represents in the middle. So it's very different for the palates that we have here in the U.S. in terms of the media side of it. And I'll say on the consumer end of it, it's been received incredibly well, which is not surprising because the majority of consumers tend to be a little more medium-bodied. There are niche parts of the market that tend to be very strong, which is a huge part of the market. The niche market has been very robust in the last many years, specifically the last 5 to 10, and especially with Nicaraguan tobacco. Nicaraguan tobacco, a big characteristic is that front palate spice, and to have it be received incredibly well by the consumers is a great aspect of it, and that wasn't surprising to me. I think there's a really unique part of that market. Working for a company that was a very full-bodied cigar maker for 15 years,
Yeah.
regularly I had people ask me, "What do you have that's medium? What do you?" I mean, it was endless. endless time. So when Martin and I got together and started talking, he's like, "Do you think there's a good reception to this in the U.S.?" And I was like, "Huge." I go, "There's a ton of opportunity for great medium-bodied cigars," and explaining the story. But I recommend that people smoke the white first, okay? Because that's how I did it. And the reason I say that is I went in, if you go into the green right off, because you say, oh, it's Nicaraguan, it's the green line, it's got a 3-year-old Habano Rosado wrapper, it's aged, it's very dark, borderline Maduro. You go in, you're like, okay, you're going to go in some preconceived notions and some, developed conceptions in your head of what you think that's going to be tasting like, and it's not a pepper bomb. It's nice, clean, medium bodied, smooth, clean on the palate. Works in, if you break your palate into 4 parts, it works in part 2 and 3. It doesn't hit the back and doesn't hit the front, but it's right in the center of your palate. And if you go into that expecting a aggressive bomb, you're not going to get that. Now, the reason I say start with a white is you go in and you're like pleasantly surprised. Hey, this is not a mild Connecticut. This has got some great flavor to it. It's got some great, again, that second and third part of your palate. And you smoke it. And I smoked it first, and then it made me like the green even more when I got into it, because then I started understanding more about what into the blending process, what the concept behind it was, and the reason why both of these blends kind of land right in the medium body part of the spectrum.
Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed, I've been, the stores around me are carrying it now, and, I grab them when I go in to keep them on hand, because I don't have any boxes yet, but so I always make sure I have a couple on hand. And I actually just ran out of whites again, so I had some greens, but still, I mean, the greens are great, and the more I smoke them, the more I've been really enjoying them more, and really kind of sniffing out their specific characteristics, and yeah, they have a very distinct taste that I've really come to enjoy, and they're really well made. I think for the price point, to be honest with you, I think I said this to you because I knew a little bit about it before it happened, and I know you kept a lot of things close to the vest. So when you first told me about Bentley and you didn't really share any of the specifics, I'm like, man, this is probably gonna be like a $24 cigar. I don't know, like the name, like it looks really cool. I'm like, I don't know. And then when I saw that, they were like, under $20, I was like, oh, really? I don't know why. For some reason, I thought it would be such a higher price point. And you mentioned, preconceived notion, so not that I really had any, but I'm like, I didn't really know what to expect because I didn't know much about it. So as I learned more about it, I'm like, oh, really? For some reason, I thought, I guess it seemed like, hey, this might be like a 20, 25 plus. And it's not. And I think it's kind of cool that, at least to me, it feels that way, and it's not. So you can, you're not actually spending as much, but you're getting a cigar that kind of feels like that too, which is nice. And the flavor profile is nice. It's right there in the middle. And even on the Connecticut, that's a good Connecticut. The white, that's a good one. I have this thing. I always, and you mentioned being with a manufacturer that predominantly made stronger cigars, which is true. Some of the strongest stuff out there, and they make good stuff. And I know that in my personal experience with you, smoking stuff, even outside of their stuff and other stuff you smoke, there's a couple cigars that come to mind that I know personally you really enjoy. And thinking back, I'm like, yeah, Jon really is, like, even outside of the brands he repped, like when he would smoke other stuff, he did smoke a lot of like stronger stuff and fuller body stuff. And so yeah, you smoke kind of everything. I know you're not super picky. You're not one of those people that's super picky, but working with, I guess what I'm working towards is getting to a brand like this is interesting to see you with, because it's not. You're right. It's not. It's different
it's not,
for you.
This is not. Yeah, it's not. It's not what people think super full body, right? And that was because of my connections with LFD. And I did smoke fuller bodied cigars. And it's funny. So I'm not picky with what I smoke, but I'm very purposeful of what I smoke. It's a well known thing. I'm a big Padron smoker. I love Padron. I enjoy the fuller aspects of Perdomo quite a bit. Like the 30th and the 10th were all stuff that are a little fuller. And I Christian Aroa, I smoke his cigars. Asylum, those are all fuller bodied, and I tended to go towards more full bodied cigars. And it's funny because I obviously there's a lot of changes. I find myself now, not just because this is my venture now, but the I tend to smoke more medium and mild cigars. I'm just not smoking as many full-bodied cigars. I used to smoke probably 3 or 4 Padrones a week. I've probably had like one in the last month. I just tend to smoke more medium-bodied cigars. I'm smoking cigars a lot slower. I'm specifically smoking a lot smaller sizes of
Are
cigars.
you? Because I know
Yeah,
you're a power smoker.
yeah, and we're working on different blends. We're working on the future and what's going to be next and what's coming up. And those are all projects that Martin and I are working on together with the team there at Bentley Tobacco International. And the U.S. aspect of this, uh, will become the biggest part of this, just simply because the U.S. market's the largest U.S. market. The largest market in the world for premium cigars and a lot of products. So we're testing things, we're working on projects, and I'm getting to know the products even better. But yeah, I naturally tend to smoke a little bit more medium-bodied cigars in the last 5 months, and it's funny because I said everything I smoked, even milder things, were more medium plus. And I'm right down the middle kind of right now. I still jump around, but I tend to be more medium bodied now, and I tend to it tends to agree with me a little bit better too, which is nice. And it's funny because I said the largest part of the market's like medium and mild cigars. When the summer comes around, it's the busiest month because people are out golfing. There's a lot going on with that, but I do think a little bit of the market is trending a little bit towards more medium, and then a little bit more complexities or a little bit more different identification of flavor rather than just front palate spice. It's very popular, and I still enjoy it quite a bit, but it's just not my cup of tea as it used to be. Speaking of cup of tea, I have a cup of tea right there. So
Do you?
I forgot about it. Yeah, I forgot about it. 1 second, stand by.
What kind of tea is this?
Well, the tea I'm drinking tonight is Trader Joe's Candy Cane Black Tea, decaffeinated.
Interesting. Oh, you got a whole pot of it going there. Oh,
Oh yeah.
oh, look at that teapot. That's like straight out of Harry Potter. Look at that thing. Oh, excuse me.
And that's the teacup.
That's clutch.
It's
Why
the
is it-
Death Star.
Why is it? I know what it is. Oh yeah. Why is it white though? Like the Death Star is like
Well,
dark.
This is dark. It's because of the light bar that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that light bar is kicking ass.
It's fucking,
So
fucking up your
anyway,
shot.
So yeah, I'm drinking more tea. I'm smoking more medium-bodied cigars, and really, I guess what it says, man, is I'm just getting older, man. I'm getting more refined.
Well, you're 40 now, so I mean,
Yeah,
you're slowing down. Slowing down.
41 in a month and a half.
Dude, I can't believe. I know you're already almost 41.
Mhm.
Growing up, I'm a little bit behind you because I'm like 10 and some years younger than you. So, growing up for me, it was like every year was like cool because it was like, just another step closer to doing something. Every year, when you're a teenager, it's like getting to 18, and then it's like getting to 21, and then it's like even then, it kind of like everyone's like it stops there because then you can do everything. But it's like I don't know. For me, it was like just riding that wave of your 20s, and then I turned 30, and I know I'm not old, but it's like that was the first time where I'm like, oh shit, like so the 20s are over. I'm in the 30s, which isn't bad, but like when this is over, it's 40. And then you have to start thinking like, well, after this, now you're looking at 50, 60. So you're almost at that halfway point. So even now, like I just turned 31, and I'm like, shit. I only got like 9 years left in my 30s. Like every year it's just gonna get shorter and shorter. Now you're at 40. Are you at that midlife crisis yet? Or are you still like, nah, 40 ain't bad?
Oh, I think I had the midlife crisis. I think I'm coming out of it. Yeah. I was definitely in it. So yeah, no, the thing that gets important is and it gets more important. Everybody tells me this that's older than me too. They're like, wait till you're 50 or wait till you're 60.
Right.
It just gets more important the decisions that you make. If you drink too much, you're hungover longer. You don't recover the same way. If you eat wrong for a short period of time, you don't recover as quickly. So you just got to be better at making decisions. And then I think too with it, if you accept those things, you start making a big difference and focus on things, and you start making better decisions, feel better. I'm kind of positive about this. 40 was a rough year. 41, I think, is going to be great. The year ended great and starting off great, so we're in good shape. So yeah, so far 40's kind of sucked, but I mean, ultimately looking back at it, I think it's been great to be real honest with you. So,
Well,
hey,
30,
you know what?
30 sucked
We're
for
sitting
me,
here
so
having
we're in
tea.
the same boat.
Yeah, we're sitting here having tea, and everything's good, so it's no problem. But yeah, medium-bodied cigars are what I'm doing. I'm drinking more tea, and it really is nice on my palate, and I enjoy it. And the white is what I recommend everyone to smoke first, even if you're a full-bodied smoker. Part of what we're going to be doing with our event experiences, they're going to be called GT experiences, and these experiences are going to be opening up your palate, trying things that you might normally not have tried. If you're a fuller bodied smoker, understanding how smoking something that's a little more medium is going to kind of be a rest to your palate and allow you to experience things in a different way. And we'll play the white and the green off of each other, and as we expand with the lines with different sizes and other concepts we have coming up in the future, we'll add those in, and they'll all have a part in that same process. So it's just been really fun. I'll tell you, the best part about it is I'm calling all my own shots. So my partnership with Martin's great. We work together, but here in the U.S., it's 100% of what I want to do and what I want to execute. And I hope as we get into it, as this year starts, you'll start to see the things that we've been doing kind of behind the scenes, and we'll slowly be expanding in the retail realm, and then just growing more recognition and reputation for ourselves going forward. So it's very rewarding to have it be to be kind of your own, which is great, and I really have appreciated that relationship and the ability to build this business over here as my own.
Yeah, I mean, so far, it seems like you're doing great. You're loving it. The shops I've been into, that are carrying it around here, because I haven't really been out and about, so it's really only been around here. It's a new brand. I think people are still discovering it, but I think eventually, I know you're got a lot going on. I think a couple of events get really, you're in the shop and gonna get people going. I think that I think it'll explode. I really do. I think that I think it's gonna be great, and I think that down the road. I mean, look, I've watched you in your previous job. I know how you are with business. Here you are, kind of starting from scratch, so to speak. So, I'm really excited for you. Like I said before, when you first came on, when you first started with Bentley, I'm excited because I know what you're capable of, and it'll be cool to watch you build it from the ground up. Because when I met you, you were already balls deep in LFD, and that was already a thing going on. So to kind of watch you start over again and kind of go up, it's gonna be fun to watch. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, we got a lot of great stuff planned. A lot of it really starts to go into motion here in the next few weeks. There's some. It's been very purposeful, as I said. Like we really are not going to expand too quickly, but we're going to expand appropriately as it deems fit.
Very
And
smart.
we've really spent the last 3 months really making sure we're aligned in the right places initially, and making sure that our next steps are the right things for our retail partners. And really, as I said, this last 3 months has been, let's get it out there and see how it kind of rides on its own. Let's see a little bit of the reception on it. We don't think it's gonna explode on its own. We understand there's a lot of work and a lot of face to face that goes into that. That's important, and that's going to come. But I really do appreciate the 60 plus retailers that we've worked with over the last 3 months that trusted to be part of that initial stage. And once we get things working here, which we're right in it now, that's where we're going to really see really where it goes. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be a big success. I'm very happy with the product. I'm happy with the future that we've got planned. I'm happy with the transparency that we're going to have with our that we have and going to have with our retail partners. And I really think we can do something special. And why I've been doing special things for 15 years. We've anybody that's experienced an event with me, I take a lot of pride in those things. I take a lot of pride in the creation and the attention to details to make sure people have a great experience. And bringing that here to Bentley is going to be a big part of it. And as I said, you're going to start to see this start to expand and start to see the bigger picture here as we go through the next month, 2 months, and certainly as we approach into the PCA show.
Yeah, sorry, I had something pop up on me, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is that doing here? I wanted to mention really quick, we already kind of went right through the whole Bentley thing, but we do have our friends from Two Guys with us tonight, so I want to make sure we at least acknowledge them. The cigars are brought to you once again by the number 2guyscigars.com. That's right, the number 2guyscigars.com. You can head over there today. You'll find Bentley cigars. They do carry it. And as well as an amazing selection of cigar brands you know and love from all over the industry. Place an order today. Buy some Bentley cigars. Don't do it for me. Do it for John. Do it for John. Order some Bentleys. Only at the number 2guyscigars.com. And cutting and lighting our cigars, our friends from SD Dupont, Shake Up the Legacy, featuring the beautiful Line 2 lighter in the new Gradient collection, the new Legrand lighters, which now ping. Not as loud as the Line 2, I've noticed.
Hey, is that Legrand lighter? Is that the one that's got the torch on it too?
Yes. So,
dude, that mechanism, if you haven't used it, you can kind of, maybe you can show it. It's tough to see. That mechanism of how that turns to a torch, the little roller right here,
yeah,
and you push up, is one of the coolest, most natural things I've ever seen with a lighter.
So you have to light the flame first, and then if you push up.
Yeah, but I don't have the Legrand. I got the Line 2. This is the Declaration of Independence. But
that's a fucking sick lighter.
Yeah, it is. So I used that the other day. I used one of the Padron ones, the Legrand one. Oh my gosh, dude, it's so cool. I said to him, like, how do you get the torch to go on? And the guy's like, oh, you just press up. And I naturally kind of press up anyway after I light it, and you hold it kind of like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, that makes sense. So that's such a cool lighter.
The funny thing is, if you look at the base price for a Line 2, like a base model Line 2, they start around, where do they? I could be wrong because they could have changed. I want to say they start around 1,200, maybe 1,000.
The Legrand?
No, Line 2.
And then
the Legrand,
I think around $1,000.
And then the Legrand comes in at like 1,800. And when you think about it, that's like where they start. And when you think about it, you're like, wow, it's almost the same lighter, and you almost have to like realize, like, well, that big price difference is probably that whole mechanism inside there that allows you to have two lighters.
Have you held one of the Padron 60th Legrands in your hand?
No, I haven't held one.
Dude,
yet.
It weighs like 5 pounds.
Well, because it's got all that extra stuff on it too.
Yeah, it's like a friggin' rock. I mean, the thing is,
this is heavy.
Heavier than a rock. Yeah, they are heavy, but the Padron one, dude, 5 pounds is probably exaggerating. I think it probably weighs 2.
The Legrand is only, and it's not that much bigger than the Line 2. Like, I'm trying to get them as even as possible. So, like, when you hold them up together, like, that's this side and the bottom square. So it's not like that much bigger. It's a little thicker. But it's not that much bigger. Which is interesting. It's when you look at it by itself, it seems like it, and then you put them side by side, and you're like, it's really not that much bigger. But they're both, I'm sure you know, like when they're made, they're all made. The core of the line 2 and the Legrand, when they're made, it's a solid block of brass that gets, machined out for all the other stuff, and then they build on top of it and put all the fancy stuff. But so naturally, at its core, it's a very heavy lighter. It's solid. I mean, you'll kill someone with that thing if you throw it hard enough.
I was blown away by the mechanism on it because I knew it had a torch, and I hadn't had one in my hand. So the Padron one was the first thing I had. A buddy of mine bought one like last week, and I was like, "How do you get the stupid torch to work?" He's like, "Oh, just press up." I'm like, and I hit it, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." I'm like, "I'm gonna need one of these things." But
the whoa. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to. Nope, I had it right the first time. I'm trying to get to. Yeah, there we go. Nope. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. Yeah, I mean it's they never really cease to amaze me. You know what else I really like that they make now, and I think Padron's collection has it too, is the new Biggie lighter. You seen that? It looks like the Legrand, but it's got the side trigger and it's the flat flame. Yeah,
it's sick.
That thing's
It's
cool
sick.
too. And that lighter is,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I only you say only like 400, but compared to all the other products, I mean, it's easier to get into, I guess, if you're willing to spend the money. I mean, it's it's $400, compared to over 1,000. So
Yeah, they made it's pricey enough where it's accessible to buy and treat yourself, but it's not inexpensive to the point where you're going to see like retailers using it for tabletop lighters anytime soon.
no. But I will say, and it's the same thing with SD Dupont that I always say, and again, it's not just because their name comes up at the bottom of the screen, and we're careful with the people that we work with too. I like to work with people whose products I really believe in, because I don't want to sit up here and lie to you either. You really get what you pay for, and I've proven that with several people who listen to this show, watch the show. They've written to us like, listen, I watched the show, keep hearing about Dupont, I ordered one. Let me tell you, this is the best purchase I've ever made. I have letters I could read on the show, and some of them
They're
have.
great. They're
And
really nice.
and people tell I'm really happy with it. Like I don't feel guilty that like it's such a and I'm like, yeah, I mean you do. You get what you pay for. I mean, it's a work of art. They're all handmade. It's bad if you're a serious cigar smoker. I mean, you got to have one in your collection. You just have to. I mean, the lighters are sick. They're sick.
Yeah, I enjoy them a lot, and I really like this one obviously because of the American aspect of it. So no, it's cool. I know I enjoy them, and yeah, but you know what? We did SC Dupont a good service tonight. I think it's time to move on.
Yeah.
We've lauded over them enough personally, and I just this is what I use now for pretty much 90%. If you just look at it, I guess the light. Oh,
I like how on that
excellent.
one they kind of went full polish, and then they did the stenciled lacquer with the stars and stuff. Instead of going with just like the full lacquer and doing the design on it, they do you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of times what they'll do is the whole lacquer square is solid, and then they just do the design. That one they just polished the whole thing and did that whole outline work with it. I think that makes it even more special because it's so different.
If you feel it, it's actually the colors are actually a little bit. They're like inlays,
Right.
so it's lined up, but it's an inlay, so it's inside of it. It's not on top. So it was actually cast or however they make it in that way. So there was the stars in there, and it's got some texture to it, but it's inlaid texture, so it's part of the metal, which is pretty cool. So no, I really liked it. And I enjoy their lacquer ones, and I have a lot of friends that enjoy those ones that have like the facade on them. But for me, I was really happy that this was that design and style. So yeah, it was nice.
Well, I want to do our news really quickly before we move on to the other half of the show. Our news is once again brought to you by Micallef Cigars. That's right, Micallef Cigars featuring the new color collection, the black, the blue, the red, and I know that there's a few more colors on the way. Hopefully we'll see in 2025. This week, our news comes to us from CAO. CAO welcomes fans to the jungle with a 2025 Amazon Basin re-release. Now, this cigar has been one that's been pretty popular the last couple of years, and I remember it was like 2
They're
years
really
ago.
freaking good, dude. They're
They
really
are.
good.
They are,
Yeah,
and
all of them have been good.
and I'll be honest with you, I didn't have any doubts over it, but when they first kind of were out there, and it was like, oh, that's cool. Like, And then people started smoking them, and it was all I heard. It was like, have you had that Amazon? Like, and people, I've seen people hunting those down the way that like the Opus people hunt Opus down, or like
I have too, dude.
it's
I'll
like,
sit in shops. I sit
yeah,
there, Cigars on the Avenue and Corona, and there's people in there that are like, "Hey, you got the Amazon Basins," and like it's guys, dude. Some of them is like the same people. It's like people that are Opus X smokers. They smoke like the Davidoff year ofs. They collect
yeah,
those, and they're like, they. I watch that person come in, and I watch them only buy like Davidoff, and then they come in to buy like 3 boxes if they can of the Amazon Basins. It's wild. The thing that I always thought was cool about it, one, the cigars are really good. It kind of has like a raisiny type
yeah,
richness to it.
yeah,
And but the part was that I always found funny was the first year they came out was the story is so ridiculous. Like it's the story of like there's this tobacco in the Amazon rainforest or whatever that this Aboriginal tribe harvests, and like only once every 3 years or something they can harvest it, and they put it on these little canoes and they bring it down the Amazon River, and then they ship it to Nicaragua or Dominican or wherever it comes from or however that gets happened, and then it turns into a cigar that's $9. Like that's harder than getting gasoline. It's a really cool story. I don't know how much of it's true. It doesn't matter. It's a really good freaking cigar. But I always thought it was funny, and they used to put the little story in there about how like this Aboriginal tribe had this rare tobacco that was only grown once every 3 years because the soil had to be right. And I'm like, I was sitting there, I'm like, this cigar should be $5,000, if not more, if it's this rare and crazy. And
and
no,
so
I don't
hard to
know.
cultivate.
I'm uneducated on it, and that's fine. I don't know. I've never heard of anything like that before. But it's a cool story. If even a little part of it's true, that's great. Or if it's just commemorating that, that's great. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's priced reasonably, and it's actually a really good cigar. And I do enjoy. I've enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, I've smoked them every year, and that they've come out so far, and they're delicious. I was pleasantly surprised. I was like really blown away. I'm like, wow. And then I saw the other response, and people are talking about it. The other cigar that I heard a lot about this year, and I actually didn't like, and I don't know if you've had this cigar, is another General cigar, and it was the new Macanudo, the Emissary España.
I haven't smoked it. Isn't that that's new? That just came out in the last few months, right?
I think there's different sizes that have come out, but
It's the one with like the is it the one with the M, like the
yeah,
big
it's
M?
like yeah, it's like blue and gold, I think, ish. I don't have one in front of me. But yeah, that came out at PCA in March, and I remember at the trade show, that was all I heard. Have you had that Magneto? Have you had the Emissary? Oh my god! And it was like there was I heard people were talking about it, and I smoked one, and I was like, not really my thing. And then I was like, but whatever. And then the next day it was like, have you smoked that Macanudo? Have you smoked that Macanudo? And I was like, yeah. Didn't really love it. People were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it just wasn't for me. I mean, no disrespect.
Sorry, I got you yawning. My bad.
It's okay. Hey, no disrespect, but it just wasn't for me. But it's still well made. I mean, but I wasn't excited. But people were raving about it, and I'll tell you, I think we reviewed it on the web. Yeah, we reviewed it. I don't remember what the score is, but we did review it. I do remember seeing the review. So I have to go back and look at that. But yeah, I mean, like Jay Davis, for example. It was like the morning of the second day of the show open, and so like what, Sunday? Because it's like Saturday, Sunday. It's like Sunday morning. I walk onto the floor, and Jay's like, "Have you had that Macanudo?" And I was like, "Not yet." You gotta have that Macanudo. He's like, this is like the cigar for me this year at my store. I'm like, oh, okay. He was like all excited about it.
I'm going to have to try it now. Because remember they had the Macanudo Inspirados or whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't like those. I didn't like those at all.
I didn't like that one either.
No, I didn't like the red. I had somebody give it to me. I really didn't enjoy it. And I smoked some of the other ones, and they were good. But the red ones specifically, I just didn't enjoy it. And so yeah, no, I'll have to go revisit that. But you said you weren't too fond of it.
No, it wasn't shit. I mean, it just wasn't for me. I just didn't like the taste. The flavor wasn't for me. It just didn't get me all excited. But again, it's subjective. I mean, everyone likes different things. Like, I
Yep.
don't like something, but then like 40 people I ran into at the trade show were like, dude, I got to have this in my store. And I'm like, that's awesome. I mean, good. The Macanudo, since we're on the topic, the one Macanudo that I really enjoyed the last couple of years, and I think it's ending now, because I think it was only 3 releases, was the Flint Knoll that they did with Flint Knoll
Yeah,
Winery.
yeah. I've heard. I haven't had those, but I heard those were good.
Those were good. I really did like those. And Aaron actually came on the show last year in the fall, summertime-ish. It was a little while ago. But he came on. He sent me a bottle of the wine. And I drank his wine with the cigar. And it really was. It was fantastic. And that was really good. My only gripe with those was the first release, the wrapper, was... And I know talking to some of the other media guys, they had the same complaint. It was very good and very flavorful. But the first one, the wrapper was like very thin. I mean, very thin. It cracked incredibly easy, very thin. The first 2 I smoked, they kind of fell apart on me. But I kept going with it. And the only reason why I kept going with it, all mangled, was because it tasted so good. Other than that, I would have just given up. But it was delicious. So yeah, if you can find them, check them out. I think you'll like those. Les Mann's with us. He missed our whole soliloquy.
Yeah, I know. We're not going to do it. We can't do it again.
I know we can't.
Oh man,
we just did so much time on Dupont last, and you showed up late.
Yeah, yeah. We were like little children, like little girls, chatty Cathys about it.
I know.
They were all nice stuff, Les. All nice stuff.
I feel like it happens every time. Like, we do the ad, we do the whole thing, we get all into Dupont, and then like 10 minutes later, he's like, "Hey guys," and I'm like, "Damn it, you missed it."
Yeah. So yeah, that's good news. So CAO also didn't General just announce they're like getting rid of all the Mac Baren stuff?
Yeah, that has not come out on the website, but yeah, there is some development.
I thought that was interesting. It's a classic. It's not as highly competitive as certain markets, but there's different ones there. Thank you, Chuck. He's going to Twins. He's going to grab one. If they got him there, grab him. And I'm actually going to be up in New Hampshire in about 2.5 weeks to get some stuff planning. And no less, I am in Orlando. I'm in Orlando right now. I got a little fire pit next to me.
He's wearing a T-shirt. There's no way he's in Maine this type of year.
Well, I got one of these little tiny fire pits. I can't pull it over, but those little like solo stove tabletop ones. But yeah, no, that the McBaron thing was interesting. So it seems like they bought them to get the top items in their portfolio, eliminate competition on the distribution wholesale level, and then just shut it down, right?
Yeah, well, it's funny because, and you've been around a lot longer than I have, so you probably remember this a little bit better than I do. I kind of got into the industry right as this was happening. But it was kind of the same story with Royal Agio. They bought Royal Agio, and then it kind of just disappeared. And I think a lot of these thought a lot of these things.
I think a lot of it is these companies all have a few things they do really, really well, and that are big parts of a market. Mm-hmm. So you buy those, integrate them into your business. These are all publicly traded companies that are buying these things too. So they got to be lean. So they bring it in, lean it up, put it part of the operation. Keep the things that work and get rid of the things that don't. And then once you control the biggest part and the things that you purchase that are great, then you're like, hey, do we need these other things? And most oftentimes not. The answer is no, because they already have other offerings and they have other concepts and things they're focusing on. So it doesn't shock me when those things happen. I know for some people it's like, oh, typical big business. And I mean, that's what they do. So when you sell something or you buy something, you get the check, and then you're going to see part of what you did change. And, it happens more often with like STG because they're just huge. So you get to watch it. And same thing with CAO. I mean, CAO took a big nosedive right after they got purchased. And that was before even the blends were changed. I think, before they even started changing factories, people were like, oh, they're having opinions about it. And then you see over a period of time that it comes back. It's part of their focus. And, CAO is a strong brand for them now. Not probably as strong as it appeared to be when the Ossinger family had it. But they sold it, made a lot of money off it, and they had a lot of pieces. And with that, the cigar side was the biggest part of what CAO was, but they started as like a pipe company, essentially, back in the day, and that kind of just went away. They absorbed it, got the cigars, and then the pipe aspect, the humidor building, and all that stuff kind of went to the wayside. So it's typical. But I thought that was kind of interesting. It was right at the end of the year, the fiscal year. Their fiscal year is wrapping up, and I don't know when they judge their fiscal years, but the year's wrapping up. So it wasn't shocking news to see that at the end of the year there, where it's like, hey, this is getting dumped.
Yeah, I mean, look what happened with Nat Sherman. Altria comes in, big tobacco company. The people who own Philip Morris, makes Marlboro and all that. One of the biggest companies in the world. They bought Nat Sherman, and it was around for a while, and then it was like, okay, we're done with cigars. We're going to keep the Nats cigarettes, and everything else is gone. Townhouse gone, everything gone. And that's it, because, they don't want to do that. It's not part of their business model. That's not what, So, yeah, I mean, it's the part of doing business. It's, that's how it goes. And like you said, always the big publicly traded companies, they got shareholders they got to answer to, and, they got to keep the company lean, like you said. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of room for error. They make those decisions. Unfortunately, brands like that, they go away, and it is what it is. In that situation, kudos to Michael Herklotz for at least keeping the brands alive.
Yeah, huge.
Also,
that was a great opportunity for him too.
I don't know if you know this. So I saw him a few weeks ago. He was up here, and he was at Twins, and Pat and I were hanging out with him. And I had casually seen on Instagram that the townhouse was repurposed. And so I don't know if you know about this, but I brought it up with Michael, and I was like, hey, so I heard about the townhouse, and he was like, oh, yeah. So the Nat Sherman townhouse is now a marijuana dispensary, and you can consume there too. You can smoke in there. So you went from being So you went from the Nat Sherman townhouse and smoking cigars in there to now it's a dispensary, and you can go there and you can smoke weed in the building. Just
have
go
you
right in.
Have you seen any pictures of it? Is it like an elegant space still?
I saw a short video of it on Instagram, and then I kind of lost it, whatever, and I'd have to go looking for it. You could probably find it. It's probably out there.
Yeah.
But I remember
I'll just search the address and find out what the business is. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I remember asking him, and he's like, yeah. He goes, and I said it's weird because it almost looks like it's still the same. They still got the cigar sign on the wall, the red neon, the cigar. And he's like, yeah. He goes, you know what else is interesting? He said all of the lockers that we had that had Michael Jordan and all the people's names. He goes, they're all still in there with their names on them. And I was like, no shit. He's like, yeah. He goes, it's pretty much the way we left it when we walked out of there. And I was like, really? Wow. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, it's pretty much it looks the same as when I left. And I was like, wow.
I'm gonna Google that address and take a look at the inside of it there.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, look, all the power to him. Good luck. I just thought it was so funny. I'm like, wow, what out of all the things that that place could have turned into, I'm like, oh, it's a pot shop now. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, it was a building in New York, which is already suited and set up to be smoked in. And I think New York is I don't know all about the marijuana stuff, but I'm pretty sure that Massachusetts, which has it legal, I don't think there's any places you can go and consume on site. I think it's just you go in, you buy, you leave. But I'm pretty sure New York, and there's a few other places where you actually can have a consumption area. And so, I mean, I guess pretty smart move. You buy a building that people used to still smoke in and be like, hey, let's make this a marijuana store in fucking New York City. Crazy, but I don't know. It's just funny to me. I don't know why. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. The back. So the video started. Someone walked in the door, and you go by the register there, that main counter. And I first picked up on it. They had the whole row of the raw wrappers that people use. You know what I'm talking about? The raw.
Yeah.
And I was like,
exactly.
I'm like, because at first I thought, oh, this is an old video of the townhouse, and then I'm like, oh, is that fucking what do they call those things that they make joints out of? And I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't think that Nat Sherman sold those. And then it started to dawn on me oh no, this is the new business. It's like, oh shit.
That's cool.
I rewound the show. John with his Declaration of Independence. Yeah, see, there you go. He went back.
Yeah.
Good
so
shit.
that's the news. That was the news today.
That's our news. Yeah, I know. And it's been a quiet couple of weeks. You know, it's the holidays. You know, so not much is going on. And John, you can speak to this, being in the manufacturing side. This industry, halfway through December until probably like next week, shuts down, and that's it. I mean, factories close.
Yeah, especially with the trade show being in April, early April, you're going to start to see a major ramp up on cigar related news in the next like 30 to 45 days. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. So that's when really it is. And instead with the trade show being early again, you're going to start to hear about new releases. You're going to have new releases coming out. You're going to have reopenings. You're going to have, I think you're going to, generally the beginning of the year is if someone's going to get promoted or position's going to change, you're going to hear from that stuff. So the beginning of the year is going to have a lot of stuff going on, more than usual, because of the timing of the PCA show. And then, when you go into that show, you want to go in with as much information to the public as available. So it's as easy to navigate your company and what your goals and plans are for that year are. So, this next 2.5, 3 months is going to be wild with the amount of information, stories, and news and all sorts of crap going on. So, it's going to be an exciting few months.
You're going to probably start hearing about it over the next week or so. So people will come back in. They'll have their annual sales meetings and all that, and then you're going to hear a little bit of stuff about TPE, because there's still some people who drop some little stuff at TPE. You'll hear that first, and then we'll get past TPE, and then like you said, I mean, probably second week of February, you're going to start, this is what we're bringing to PCA, and that's when it gets busy. Now, I will say, this year was kind of quiet on PCA releases, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that, and I think, especially with the shorter turnaround time. But now that people have had over a whole year cycle now for the next show, yeah, I mean, I think I anticipate it being probably a little bit busier than last year. So excited to see
for us, we're going to be adding a lot of retailers at the PCA show. We're going to be adding retailers leading up to it. We're going to be expanding our
You're
footprint
busy
in regards to shelving. So we're going to, we're introducing 5-packs. We're going to introduce a new size in the green line. We're going to introduce a new size in the white and the green line, but only in the 5-packs. And then we've got the AI project. No, it's like the little cardboard. It's a little cardboard. It's like the Davidoff 4 or 5-packs.
Oh, okay. So not like the bags.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
No.
Okay.
No fresh packs. No. So we've got that going on. And then on January 31st was the last day for collection, really, for information on what's going to become the product from the AI cigar project that we announced.
Yeah.
So we got 3 months to put together prototypes for that. Not prototypes, but put together the finished product to display. We're probably not going to be releasing that till July or August at the earliest, but it'll be out well before the end of the year. But we've got that to show. We've got a booth to put together. So what tends to happen is in the cigar business is planning, and everybody's always planning ahead, right? You're always ahead, but you get into the execution phase really quick with the show being earlier. So when everybody gets back, really next week and the week after, the next 2 weeks are where people get back. You start talking about stuff and you realize our Super Bowls in like 3.5 months, 4 months, less than that, so it's, it starts the reality of things start hitting you real quick in January. And then you work February and March now to get ready for April. And that continues on behind the scenes as you're producing and getting things that you're selling and presenting and showing at the show ready to come out in a timely manner. So I'll say for us as a company that's launching here in the U.S. new, the show being in April is huge for us. It's a great buying time. It's a great opportunity for people to bring the products in and retailers to support it. So we're excited about it, and I do like the change in the show time. I liked it prior as well. And you said since we had a whole cycle, the reason I bring those since we had that 1 year cycle of having that show earlier, I think it's going to start to get into more of a routine, and everybody's going to start getting into a little bit more comfort level with it, and you'll start to naturally see consumers, media, and the actual manufacturing brand owners getting into a little bit more of a traditional routine with that new time frame.
Yeah, and I think that at first I think the time frame was, it's like a little bit of like a shockwave. It's like, oh, it's moving, but like I think
it's a big change.
but I think getting into the routine and looking back, I think I think it'll work. I think it'll work. I think it sounds like it's already working better for manufacturers and retailers. It's brought people back to the show, on both sides of that too. For so many reasons, it just seems to be working good. So hopefully, that stays true. And like you said, that people get into that routine, and earlier in the year seems to be better for most people. So we'll see how it goes, and next show is in New Orleans, so we'll see how that goes. Hopefully, no one drives through the trade show in a F-150.
Dude, what a weird start to the year, huh?
I know.
Like 3 terrorist attacks. Holy shit!
3. What was the third one? I heard about New Orleans,
There was
Vegas.
a shooting. There was a shooting in New York City last night at a club. There, the FBI guys
I didn't even hear about that one.
looking at as a potential terrorist situation. And then you got the stuff going on. It's a wild world out there, man. It's a
Wow.
real crazy place right now. So I think, sadly, there's going to be more bad things coming along. So yeah, I pray for safety when we go to these places, and hopefully we're ready for it. And there's less of that. But it's been a really bad start to the year.
Yeah, we are 2 days in, and there's already been a couple of terrorist attacks, and we're 2 days in. 2. We didn't make it fucking a day.
No,
Just right in. It was like, wow, okay. I guess this is it. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like ever since 2020, like it's been just kind of like, when COVID first happened, that was like, this decade's gonna suck. Like, like it was like, oh, 2020, new decade. Like, okay. Like now we're in the 20s, and it's like, it's just like, nope, fuck this decade. And now we're halfway.
So I want
through.
to show some people this. So for those of you that are familiar with like solo stoves, this
think
is
it's
not
cool.
a solo stove, but it's the same concept, and it's a little tabletop one. It's what I'm using to keep myself warm out here because it's getting down in the low 50s. Anyway, I brought it in front of me because I have to blow into it here to get some flames going. But it's called DOD Dome Trek, and dude, $20 on Amazon. Can't friggin' beat it.
Now, do you burn full pieces of wood, or is that more like a pellet burner or like a chip burner?
So I got this little claw here, and I'm using these little pieces of like 4-inch kindling wood. You can buy these online, or you can get them locally.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to buy them online because here in Florida, the wood's a little different. But then it does have a pellet option too, so you can do these. You can put pellets in there, which would be really nice. So I'm going to get some pellets coming, which would be nice. But right now I'm just using these little 4-inch kindlings.
I use pellets because I have a Traeger, so I do a lot of
Yeah.
pellets smoking.
So yeah, it can take pellets, and it's a really cool little device. And I know this isn't cigar related, and nobody's getting paid to talk about this, but DODOME TREK, the Dome Trek, $20 on Amazon, ridiculously good deal. Highly recommend it. It's been fun.
I want to get one of those too.
$20.
I know it's not cigar related, but I think most people would find it interesting. I want one of those too. I think I'm going to get one of those for the summertime.
It provides just enough heat over here where it makes it a little comfortable. I'm colder down below, so but it once it gets popping, it does really, really good, and it puts off a lot of heat.
What's the temp like down there right now?
It's 50.
Really? Okay.
Mhm.
That's not bad. It's like
That's
20,
fine for me, but
25 here.
it would be a little chilly for my wife. She finds this cold. So, but I also like having a little fire pit going. I got a fire pit off to the side here that I posted some pictures and stuff with my daughter. That's been fun to spend time with her. She really likes making fire pits. So we've been doing that. So, but I like sitting outside and kind of having the smell of fire, and it's relaxing to me visually. So this thing's been awesome. I've had it now for about. What I did is I bought it for a white elephant exchange. For my wife's family, and I liked it so much, and we have a $20 limit, and I crushed it this year because they're like, "You got that for $20?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's awesome." And so I liked it so much, and everybody liked it. I was like, "I need to get one of these things." So I got one for myself, and I got one for my mother-in-law because she got it taken away from her from the white elephant, so she was kind of ticked. So I was like, "Don't worry, I got another one coming." So I've had a fun time with it here for the last week. So highly recommend it. The Dome Trek, Amazon. Great deal.
You can drop all your nubs in there too. Save room in the ashtray. Just let them burn.
I put my tea bag in there, and it smelled like mint. It was great.
Wow. See, that's the thing. You and I, we grew up here in the Northeast, in the forest, in the quiet small towns, in the woods, and we grew up around fucking campfires, man. They're awesome. I love it. I love being around a good fire.
Me too.
It's just there's something about it, man.
It's relaxing. I mean, when we started Smoking Tobacco, the show, I mean, every night I had a fire pit going off to the side. I had the tiki
Yeah.
torches all around me. I still like to be out and have a fire going. I'll even do it when it's hot, dude. Like during the day, I'll get one going sometimes. I just like having it going, and it drives. It is a strong smell. But you said it, we grew up around it. Like it was not just a fire pit. Wasn't this like a special occasion thing? It was like I did a fire pit every single night until it got too snowy for me to do it, and then I did the fire pit out in front of my house after I plowed the driveway, type of a thing. So it's just naturally something that we did. You do a lot of being up north, particularly in the middle of the woods in Maine. So it's nice to have, and it's just a relaxation thing for me.
Yeah, dude, it's a great way to get rid of stuff too. Like you got you got some cardboard boxes in the garage, fucking throw them in the fire pit.
Well,
You got some extra
well,
wood.
you're not supposed to do that here in Orlando, so I would never do that.
Well, you're not supposed to do it. Well, you're not supposed to do it anywhere. But let's be real, we all
Yeah,
do it
yeah,
anyway.
yeah, maybe they do, maybe we don't. I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, no, I mean they really are. They're awesome, especially like in the fall. When it's crisp. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that is the best. That is the
Tonight's
best.
tonight's the perfect night in the 50s. It's great to have a little fire going, and dude, you can see. Let me bring this baby back. Look, there we go.
Wow,
And
that's a good little flame.
we got some serious flame going here.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Wow, I like that a lot. That's cool. Yeah, that's a
20
good
bucks.
amount of heat. Yeah, $20. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of those. Be a man. Use your hands.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
a
I'm just
little
kidding.
hot for that.
I'm
Yeah,
just
a little
kidding.
hot for that.
You're always hot in general.
Yeah, I am. I don't need to be burnt though.
I know.
Since I do that snack shack occasionally, my hands are getting a little bit more rugged because I use fryer oil and I get a bunch of little splatters every once in a while. So I'm doing that little restaurant pop up on Sundays, and I do it once every 2 weeks. I took the last few weeks off, but it's been fun. I got a lot of friends that come over. The place we do it at is called Forward Slash. It's a distillery and blending house here, and they have a cigar smoking area. The owners are good friends, and it's the gentleman that we did the Bull's Breath bourbon with.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
so we sit and hang out and have cocktails and drinks. And on some of the busier weekends, I set up a little outdoor cigar bar. So it's pretty cool. So it's been fun. But yeah, no, my hands get enough burnt from the beef tallow I do the deep frying with. So I'm going to use my tongs.
Nice. Yeah, that the Snack Shack thing. I meant to ask you about that because I've seen you post about it a few times, and it looks like it's a good time.
Yeah, so it was a business my dad started in 1972, and it was my first job ever when I was like 10 or 11 years old, maybe 12. And so we brought it back when I had some time, and I was like looking for different ways to pay bills and support, help support my family. So it was just something logical. It was fun. I have a catering license that I use through my father-in-law. So it was a natural thing, and they were looking for some other pop-ups. So we do all locally sourced beef, locally sourced buns from a bakery here called Old Hearth,
Oh,
and
wow.
and we do everything is all the fries are fresh cut, and they're deep fried in Wagyu beef tallow. So it's a pretty cool thing, and it's been a
Wow.
lot of fun. And yeah, we've had a good time with it. And so I'm scaling it back slightly as I'm getting focused on other things. But we're going to still keep doing the snack shack. It's just something fun and passionate about. And my dad actually gets down here in about 7 or 8 days. And he's going to be a guest cook at the snack shack, which would be fun. So 52 years later, after he started it, he'll be back on the line cooking burgers and fries with me.
So this is his first time getting back involved with it since you kind of revived it.
Yeah, I mean, we did some test stuff together. Like we have a secret family onion ring recipe that we do every once in a while. We'll do it like once every 2 months at the shack here. So we perfected the recipe again and started training on it. And I ran everything by him, and he really helped me with working on different things on the menu and what we were going to do and concepts. And so it was a very thoughtful business. If you look at it, I made all the logos and everything and the website, and it's a real legitimate business, and we do a modest amount of business with it. It's very small, mean, really, really small. But it's a great time, and I enjoy it, and it really helps spread the cigar community too. There's a great cigar community around here that's very supportive of it, and they come out and get burgers and fries and buy a Bentley cigar and have some cocktails, and it's a good Sunday afternoon.
Well, it sounds like a great time. Next time I'm down in town with you, hopefully I can catch you doing the snack shack.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure we do it. We'll make
Yeah.
sure we do it.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta see this. And I've had most of your creations. I don't think I've ever had your family onion rings, so I definitely gotta add that to my list of things to try.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on my list for sure. I'm on a diet right now. I'm trying to after the
Good, good.
holidays. I thank you. I actually was down a good amount of weight. I actually went up a little bit, and I was like, oh shit. So I said to Nicole, I go, it's gonna be nothing but like chicken, fish, and salad for the next month. So buckle up. And she was like, yeah, I'm on board. So I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I gotta.
I'm getting things back.
Stay the course.
Yeah, yeah, I'm getting things back in line too. But I get big fast. That was the problem. So I've been doing I've been doing this push-up program for the last like month. Tomorrow's my 30th day, so it's 50 push-ups in 30 days. So you work your way back up to it, and it's run by Deontay Wilder, a former heavyweight champ. So it's a pretty cool program. And Saturday will be my first time back up to doing 50 push-ups. And then you go into phase two after that, and phase two is just out of control. So I'm looking forward to it. It's been fun. I've been doing a lot of walking, ellipticals. So yeah, a lot of transitions. And my final transition was, I need to get back into shape. I need to get back to being jacked Jon Carney, not just look like a retired offensive lineman Jon Carney. So that's been fun to be doing that the last 30 days, and I've been getting into that. It's been great. I'm doing cold plunges. I got ice showers that I do, which is really cool. So just health stuff, and it's fun. And, everything in a little bit of moderation, right? I'm smoking more medium-bodied cigars, but on the I'm replacing it with some extremes on my working out and getting back into shape and getting strong again. So it's been an exciting end of the year and a cool start, and I don't blame you for focusing on being healthy. That's the one thing I'll tell you, man. If you're healthy in your 30s, you'll start off your 40s healthy. If you start off your 40s healthy and work through there, the goal is to try to be as healthy as you can in each of these decades. So don't not focus on your health. There's always a joke going around. Tony Gomez and I used to joke around. It's like Carney's either not drinking, jacked, and in great shape, or eating and drinking steak, and still big. But it's always like a 3-year cycle. So I'm hoping to end those 3-year cycles and just keep it as, hey, through my 40s, I'm going to be as in best shape as I can be, and start doing that. And so then so I can enjoy my 50s, enjoy my 60s, and then hopefully get into 70s and 80s. We'll go ahead. I know I went pretty far in advance there, but life is short. You got to take
That's
care of
very
yourself.
optimistic.
Yeah, all right.
But hey, you know what? If you make it to 70, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. For people who smoke cigars every day, that would be pretty good. But anyway, I digress. Look, I'm looking at the time. We are almost at 9:30 here. I'm going to wrap up the show. John, great to see you as always. It's always a pleasure to have you back with me on the show. And anytime, especially when it's just me and you, it's like old times. It's like old times.
Right, Tom.
And it's a very special feeling because, again, that's how this show fucking started. It was just the two of us, a lot less people watching, a lot less stuff on screen and all that. It was very, it was a publicly broadcasted Zoom call from my garage, your front porch up in Maine. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
wow, how
Humble
far we've come.
beginnings.
And this will be, it's our 5th year. Wow.
Yeah.
That was 5 years
wild.
ago.
Yeah, it's
Five-
crazy, dude.
five-
It's been a
April-
while.
April.
We both got.
April.
Yeah, we're
5
married.
years.
We both got kids, and all sorts of stuff going on. No, it's definitely come a long way.
Damn.
I'll leave it on my end. So people did ask this, in the beginning, what's your title, this and that. So I do have a title now, that the company's incorporated. I am the chief executive officer and chairman of the board of Bentley Tobacco USA. So if people are interested in what was going to become next, and if I was all in on this, this is 100% all in. This is the future for me in my career, and I look forward to the coming weeks as we enter into phase 2 of our 3-phase essential launch program, and phase 2 is the most influential part of it for us. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there. I'm looking forward to these next few months to present more of the brand, and then start executing the things that built my reputation over the last 15 years in this industry. So I'm super excited. I'm proud of the title. That's nice, but it's not going to change what my work ethic is, or anything like that. I'm going to be very hands-on and very much a part of what I've been doing. So it's going to be a elevated version of what you experienced for the last 15 years, and the ultimate decisions of what we're doing are on me, and we're going to do the best we can, and hopefully those results of what people see when I'm able to make those decisions are real positive. So it should be an exciting 2025 for Bentley, and certainly has been an exciting end of the year for me, and I'm looking forward to what's next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, hey, good luck with this year. I think you're going to have a great year, but, I know nothing's set in stone, but I think you're on the right path, and I think you're going to have a good year. So good luck, and can't wait to see you guys at the show, making the big debut. It's going to be awesome. Great to have you on the show. Please don't be a stranger. Come back anytime you want, whether there's another guest or not. Like I said, you're always welcome on the show regardless. But that's going to do it. We got spare notes on Saturday night. Myself and Coop and Pat will all be together, and working on some upgrades in the studio here. So just keep an eye out for that. We're gonna have some transition of technology here, so it shouldn't be too bad, but you'll notice some changes. We're gonna have multiple cameras and some new lighting, and it's gonna be interesting. So hoping to get that kind of wrapped up. Yeah, trying to get that wrapped up over the next couple of weeks. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, that's gonna be the show for this week. Thanks for everyone for being here. Thanks for everyone watching, listening later, downloading and subscribing. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much. Head over to smokintabacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry.